Hey guys, and welcome to another Q&A Monday video. In this video I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can in as much detail as possible, but I get so many questions every day that I just can't answer them all. So if I don't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. Now, I do have to just give you a heads up. I have like an extremely sore throat. I'm really struggling to speak today, but I wanted to get this video out, so I am going to fight through it. I'm going to do my best, but if you know my voice cracks at any point or there's a few more jump cuts than usual, you know why. So with that said, let's jump into the first question. Syphilis Grandma 69 asks, would you be able to do a voice box session to see if Winnie Johnson is reunited with her son now that the bastard Ian Brady is dead? Also, could you ask the other side about Maddie McCann? Now this is a bit of a controversial subject, to be honest. Now, I've got to say right out of the gate that I'm not a medium or a clairvoyant or anything. Like, I don't have the ability to speak to specific people. Whenever I do like a ghost box session or any type of communicating, it's very much luck of the draw. I have no control over who actually comes in and talks to me. Yes, I can ask for specific people, but I really can't make that happen if I wanted to. It's just hope and pray that they come forward and they want to speak. But the question does raise kind of an interesting topic, because it's kind of a hotly debated subject whether it's okay to like contact celebrities or people that are in the limelight, like the people specifically mentioned in the question. It's kind of a touchy subject. I know over the last few years with all the celebrity deaths, there's been a number of cases where they've done a spirit box session and they've released it and they've said, I believe I was speaking to such and such, and YouTube has a very negative community and they just look at that and go, you're just asking for views. That's all you're doing it for. You stick a celebrity name who's just died, you're going to get views. And that might be the case, but at the same time, if you have done a spirit box session where you genuinely believe a celebrity came forward and spoke to you, surely you're going to want to share that. And so my stance on it is, I think personally, if you feel comfortable enough sharing that, then I say go ahead. But for me, I don't think I would ever do it, just for the simple fact that I personally don't think there is ever a right time. To me, there's no point risking just pissing off a bunch of negatives on YouTube and causing an uproar when there's so many other spirits you could contact that aren't going to cause that. Like, yes, if you've spoken to a celebrity, then great, but like I say, if your whole purpose is to just prove that you are and validate that you are speaking to spirits, there are so many other spirits you could do that with that aren't going to cause the same uproar. Maybe it's because I'm a bit of a fence sitter and I like to stay on as many people's good side as possible, but that's just my stance. I have no problem with people that do, because at the end of the day, if these celebrities, they need communication as well. But for me, I'll generally avoid the more well-known and the raw subjects, just because I don't feel it's necessary to validate my experiences. Olivia asks, is that a Rubik's Cube behind you? Why? Yes, this is a Rubik's Cube, and I have it there because I tend to use it a lot when I do like my editing and stuff. Like, once I set a video to render, I'm usually sat there for like 20 minutes with nothing to do, so I just do the Rubik's Cube continuously. Now, there is an interesting story that goes behind this said Rubik's Cube, and it actually ties into my paranormal story, believe it or not. When I went through my depression phase, the time when the negative entity was around, one of the things I actually got into doing was solving the Rubik's Cube. And I would literally take this particular cube with me everywhere, and I would just break it up, redo it, break it up, redo it. And that just kind of kept my mind occupied. And anyone who's ever been through any type of depression, like, I wouldn't say mine's a severe case, not at all, but you tend to linger on negative thoughts way longer than you should, and it brings your mood down continuously. So having something to play with, or something to just occupy your mind, for me anyway, that really helped me get through that. So it's kind of partially to do with the whole recovery process and solving the whole negative entity issue that I had. So interesting story. If you are interested in seeing me actually clock this, I think I got to a point where I'd done it so much, I actually managed to do it in 54 seconds was my record. There's not a hope or prayer of me doing that now, but I reckon I could still do it pretty fast. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll maybe chuck a video up here as I'm chatting and you can see that happen. Tracy asks, "Hi Michael, they say when you die you move on to a better place. I'm paraplegic. Do you think, in your opinion, if when I move on, would this still be the case, or would I be healed?" Now, as you say, it is widely believed that when you pass, you do go on to a better place, and I know a lot of religions believe that you will go into a state of your peak physical health, your peak condition, your peak emotional state. All of that is just at its highest level, and any ailments you have are gone. And even though I'm not particularly religious, I do subscribe to that idea because, as you know, my idea of a spirit, a ghost, is our spiritual energy. And so in that, when you become a spirit, you no longer have a body to be ailed. Like, if any issues you have with your body, any conditions, they're no longer there because the body's not there to do it. It's entirely sort of mental, spiritual energy that you're dealing with. Now, you do hear of investigators who, like, they might be investigating a character that had like asthma or something, and they catch a wheezing sound on an EVP. Now, I personally think that wheezing sound is just a residual energy from that person. I don't think that person's gone on for eternity with asthma or anything like that. I think if that's something they lived with such a long time, of course there is going to be residual energies left over that can one day be picked up. But I think if you're an intelligent spirit and your energies crossed over the way I believe it happens, then no. I don't think any conditions that we have in life continue. I think you're just at the peak mental condition, I guess. Natalie asks, "Please, when are you going to do an overnight investigation?" Very soon. I actually have a couple of investigations that I'm working on planning and sort of scheduling in at the moment. The biggest issue I have really is just time. I work a full-time job and then I'm putting out 2 videos a week on here, and even these Q&As takes a long time to put together, and you know, the weekends, the amount of time put into reviewing and editing, I'm not left with a great deal of free time to go out and investigate other places. I have recently launched a Patreon campaign that I'm hoping will be able to ease that pressure and allow me to go out and investigate a little bit more and bring that content to you. So if you do want to see that, things like the Halloween special investigation, but out in the haunted locations of the world, then, you know, that is a perfect avenue to take if you want to help that happen. In the meantime, though, I do have an investigation that I'm planning on going on in the near future that I will be announcing shortly. I can't say when because I'm not sure when it's going to happen yet, but I am working on it, so look out for that, guys. Sue Pinter asks, "Do you have your equipment set up every day, or do you just set it up once in a while?" No, I don't put it up every night. Generally, I find the activity comes in sort of peaks and troughs. So during the quiet times, if I was to set up the camera every single night, it would be a huge waste of my time to sit and review that, just in the hopes of there happening to be some kind of paranormal activity. Yes, it happens, but it's so rare. I feel like it would be a waste of my time to do that. So what I will do is I'll wait until I feel like a peak's coming in where I've woken up to the sound of things happening in the house one night, and then I know the chances are that there is going to be some activity to follow in the coming night. So that's kind of how it works. I start to hear things and then I start setting up the cameras, and I feel like the hit and miss ratio is just much higher that way, and I don't feel like I waste as much time reviewing. Super Stew asks, "Why do ghosts/spirits only seem to respond in 1-2 word answers? For example, if an investigator asks, 'How did you die?' the spirit usually responds with one word like car or fire. It never seems to be, 'I was struck by a car while crossing the street over on Maple Avenue.'" That's a very good question. I genuinely think there are a number of factors involved. I think the method of communication really does make a difference. I'm starting to be swayed a little bit by sound banks because it's just, there are already solid words there that a spirit can use to communicate. Things like radio, they're having to sort of piece together almost like transmissions and white noise to kind of create words. So that takes a lot of effort. And then EVP, they're generating words entirely out of white noise. So it's like, it's just levels of difficulty. Not only that, but I imagine it expends quite a lot of energy trying to get a word out, especially if it's something like an EVP where you're having to put all of that effort into generating the word entirely. That for me is the reason. But it would be so lovely if they could just spew out full sentences. It does happen, but I've not quite yet figured out what triggers that to happen. Necro asks, I've got a question. How are all those shocks and frights affecting your health? How are you feeling, mate? Oh, well, I'm very flattered that you would ask. They do say you should do something that frightens you every day. And to be honest, over the last 6 years, I've not really had to go very far for that to happen. But in seriousness, I can't say that I feel in any way ill or like I have heart problems or anything like that. My nerves aren't on edge. I genuinely feel just fine, obviously, aside from the sore throat and just general illnesses that everybody gets. I wouldn't say that it's really affected me all that bad. If anything, it's given me much stronger nerve, and I'm a little bit braver than I might have once been. But other than that, yeah, I'd say I'm much the same as I always have been. And so that's it for this week's Q&A, guys. I hope I answered your questions sufficiently and in enough detail. As I said before, if I didn't get to your question in this video, don't worry, I might get to it in the next one. If not, just drop it down in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So thank you all so much for watching. And as always, I'll post any and all activity as and when I get it.